Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to this video. So last time we actually added our player character, and now we can move around the terrain. What I planned for this time is just to get started with some decals, mainly trees, because the terrain right now is kinda empty. And for the trees, we're actually going to use billboards instead of models. Why billboards? Well, because we can, and it might be useful to know how to do billboards. Because for the models, you can just use our unlit render pipeline. I'm not sure if we're going to do lit a pipeline, but anyway, you can use unlit and then model loader like async. And fortunately, there is async loader, model loader for C# with these silk.net bindings. But anyway, I'm rambling. So what are actually billboards if you don't know what they are? Well, the billboards are, if you ever played Doom or similar game, are these like the enemies that always face you. They're not 3D models. Here they're called sprites, billboards. They have rotation, but the idea is they're always kinda, it's like you can imagine a quad that's always rotated towards you. So maybe a better example is some chair or some decal from Doom, but also another common use for billboards is, for example, texts, right? If you need texts which are in 3D environment, but they always need to face you, right? So usually some texts like this, and I'm not talking about like typical UI text, I'm talking about text that can pop up anywhere in game, right? When you, for example, shoot an enemy, that's also a common example for a billboard. So let's get started, and for that we're going to need, first of all, if we take a look at our unlit rendered pipeline, we usually pass perspective view together, but I don't want to do that right now because I actually need view transform. So we're going to pre-multiply view transform for our billboard, and then I'm going to explain how this works. So we can even get started here. We're just going to copy our unlit rendered pipeline and create a new one, which is going to be called billboard, of course. So here we're just going to need billboard WGSL, right? And we can copy paste this. And as I mentioned, we're going to need to separate this perspective view into two parts, which means we can just copy this to this, set binding to 1, of course, and this will be view, right? And this will be just perspective. Of course, we're going to leave this for now like this. We just need to multiply here, right? Perspective times view. And that's it regarding changes. We're probably going to get back to this. So further, what we're going to need is probably going to create a pipeline, but for now we can just go here, and you can call this decal, and yeah, I'm going to call this decal, game decal, or something like that. But not in our scene. I'm getting ahead of myself. We had this game objects, and I'm just going to call this decal. For now, it's just going to be tree, but you can use it for whatever. And here, I think create is good candidate to copy paste from lazily. And then we just need to get rid of some stuff. Of course, as always, we're going to need our engine instance. Engine, if I could type it, that would be really nice. Oh, there we go. Physics, I don't care about physics for now. So you can integrate physics into this. I don't want to, and I'm going to leave all of this the same. Of course, we need our decal, and for that I have added this tree, and that's what we're effectively going to render. And I'm going to leave a description, the link of the video for you, so that you can download it as well, but you can download any tree texture, so it doesn't have to be this one. Just make sure that it has transparency, right? Okay, back to our decal. So let's get rid of stuff that we don't need. We don't need this. This is now 3, and for me it's 0, 1. For you it's going to be either this or whatever you downloaded. I'm just going to call this decal render pipeline. We're going to change this in future. We don't need cube geometry, we need quad geometry, right? We're just going to represent it with a simple quad. Quad geometry, if I could type, that would be nice. This is okay. I guess not the numerics. Oh, what am I doing? we need silk.net bindings, and here I'm just going to use 0f, so it's going to be at the center of the screen, so that we don't have to like try to find it every time. And then here I'm just going to paste it a bit up, because if you remember, our hill is at the center of the screen, so it might be, if you leave it at 0, it might just go below the hill. But also I'm going to do this and then just create scale matrix as well. It's just going to be easier to see what's going on. And I'm just going to say 4f for y, and for z, since it's a quad, we don't care about the z. Random, we do not need. Physics, let's just get rid of it. Update, nothing to do for right now, let's just update, but we can leave it, and the rest is fine. You can optimize here with namespaces, I don't care, we're good. So we can create our decal in our terrain scene, right? And we can just say decal 3 decals. And it's null here, or not null, we can actually instantiate it here. We have engine, we need to of course call our common initialize, and we can render it. And since it has transparency in it, it's probably a good idea to render it after everything else. Otherwise you might run into issues. And if I run it now, of course it's not going to work because I changed our oh, actually it works kind of. Why does it? Okay, maybe I made a bug. All right, let's get to refactoring. Maybe I missed something. If it doesn't work for you, it's fine. I guess it might work. Oh, well, yeah, of course it works, because I actually never changed the pipeline, because I was looking at it and I was thinking, okay, I changed this to perspective and view, why does it work? Well, of course, we're still using only render pipeline, which is fine. So here, we actually kind of render it, but if we go behind it, it's gone. And here, it just stays here, it doesn't rotate towards us. And I want it to rotate towards us. And for that, we're just going to need to implement that pipeline, which uses our new shader. And then we're going to modify shader a bit to actually make it a billboard. Right now, it's just some quad geometry. Okay. So for our billboard, first of all, our camera right now, if we take a look at the camera, we're going to need to refactor this a bit because we just have a buffer here. So we're going to copy paste this 2 times, but this is, okay, I'm just going to edit the perspective view buffer or projection or view projection, probably better depending on order, but yeah, doesn't matter. So we can say here projection buffer and view buffer, and I think name is clear, so I can get rid of this summary. So we just need to paste these 2, and we had 2 implementations of our camera, FPS camera and this perspective camera, so we need to implement it here. So let's just do this, implement interface, then we need to find them. And here it's throwing garbage, so we can just say this and this. And then we need to create them somewhere over here, as good as any. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger so that it won't line it. So we need projection buffer, and it's similar to any other buffer here, and then view buffer. That's good. And then we just need to update them. And we have perspective camera here, so that this is for our projection buffer, right? And then somewhere below, we have view here, so that's for our view buffer, of course. And then we need to do it 2 more times for our perspective camera, so right over here, buffers are. And then I'm just going to easily copy paste this because it's same code. So we need to update them. We have perspective camera here, so that means we can actually add our projection buffer right over here, and then the view buffer right over here. So nothing changed. I'm just going to run it to make sure that I haven't terribly broken anything, and I haven't for now. There is still time to break something. But anyway, let's go to our pipeline, and finally we can create that order in the pipeline. Good. So yeah, let's just copy all of this, and then if you remember, we separated our perspective view matrix into perspective and view. So we're just going to first of all accommodate for that, and of course I would first complaints, because here we need to change this, and we need to change it to unsafe, right? First constructor, we need to change this to unsafe. We're going to leave most of the stuff as it is. This is fine. You can actually call it Billboard now, but those are just descriptions. So I'm going to leave it for you to do it in your free time. Create bind group layouts. So we need to change our camera layout, and right, we separate the perspective view into perspective and view. So we need to change this to 2. Binding, this is fine. So this is for our perspective, and then we need to change this. You can multiply here at once. So if you're wondering how to multiply in Visual Studio, Control Alt and then up down. Binding is 1, and here it's important, so I'm just going to rename this to Billboard, but the entry count must be 2, right? It's very important. And then we go to create texture bind group. No, we don't, my bad. We go to create bind groups, and where we have camera, so we need to stack allocate for 2. Then we need to modify that second entry. Here, modifying second entry, binding is 1, right? This is important part, especially the binding, if you change that. And here, now this is a really important part, right? When we assign our buffer, it's not buffer, right? This is our projection view buffer. So here we have projection buffer, and size is same, so it can remain as it is, but yeah, let's just change it for consistency. And here it's view buffer, right? And entry count, very important, once again, it's 2. Yeah, this is the ugly part. When you're working with low-level rendering, you can have to pass this entry count as well. It is what it is. And then here, when we're creating our pipeline, of course, it's now Billboard. And we're going to call this Billboard. So maybe I forgot this. Yes, I did. We'll copy this, right, in shaders. When we create a billboard, we need to output it to our build folder. And finally, in our decal, we will change this to Billboard. Good. And if I run it now it's time to see if we broke something. It's amazing. We didn't break anything. Our tree is still rendered, right? So it means that it works. Of course, now we have to discuss how do we create a billboard actually. And it's very easy to do. Okay, let's try to do this. I'm going to explain it actually a bit later, but or as I code. But what we need is view transform matrix. So we're going to get this and then just create view transform. And now get rid of X and Z rotation. So this is a good suggestion, but of course for this I just want to keep scale. And where is our scale? If you remember, our scale part is in, let's do screen marker. So if you remember transform matrices, we always mention that here is scale X, then we have scale Y and scale Z, and then these parts are going to contain rotations for the axes, right? And for rotations, how this works, Billboard, is you just want to get rid of these rotations, not the Y. We're just going to keep Y axis as is, right? But we can get rid of these rotations along X-axis and Z-axis, and that's going to like create this billboard effect, where Y is moving, it's rotating around Y, but not around the other axes. Let's just implement this because it's very easy. So we already solved this, we just need transform. So we're going to say 0, 0. So what is this? Oh, it's scale, right? This is scale X. And this gets rid of rotation around X. And here it's trying to get rid of Y rotation. Of course, that's not going to work for us. We need to get rid of Z. Shame. I don't have formatting here, so I'll have to do it like this. Okay, here. And this 2, of course, is our Z scale. So we're just going to copy this, paste it right over here. Scale Z. And in theory, if I do this, we should have our billboard. And if I take a look at our tree, it's rotating as we are rotating, which is perfect, right? And so there we have it. We have our billboard. So just to quickly recap what we did. Basically, all of this just boils down to one simple thing, which is just get rid of these rotations, right? Get rid of X and get rid of Z rotation. So the Y we still have, right? And if you take a look at it, let's try to find these drawing tools. If we take a look at it, right, as we're rotating, Y is rotating, and that's all that we want to do. X is always going to be facing towards us, and yes, well, can I explain like that? Anyway, you get the idea. So you only need this part, right? And that's it. All of other stuff was just filler for this. Anyway, that's it. For the next video, what we're actually going to do is instancing, because what I want to have is like first of all terrain filled with trees. We could do that now. It's not going to be effective as instancing, but that's not even important, right? It would still render perfectly fine because this is not demanding. But what I want to do is just proper instancing with WebGPU to show you how to do that, and then we can move to our enemies. Anyway, that's it. If you like the video, maybe like, subscribe, leave a comment, and until next time.